Hey everybody, happy new year and welcome back to Heart Breathings. I am so excited about 2020. There's just something about the balance of that 2020 and the feeling of brand new decade and so many exciting things happening that just has gotten me so excited for everything that's coming up. I am excited to be back with videos. I took a couple of weeks off just for my own personal sanity because I hadn't really taken much time off this year, even though I did have a baby. So I needed a couple of weeks and it was very nice. But now I am getting back into the groove of my videos and getting everything set up for the year, including my Kanban board, which I will have a reset video coming up later this week. But today what I'd like to show you is a flip through of my custom HB90 2020 goals planner. So this is a little bit different from my Q1 planner. It's the same goal setting pages, but instead of having the weekly and daily pages and it just being for the quarter, this includes the entire year's worth of goal setting pages. So I'll walk you through exactly what that means and the difference between the two planners and all of that in this video. So if you're really interested in a great goal setting planner and you didn't want to get the Q1 planner or the quarterly planner because you didn't need those weekly and daily pages, this is a really great planner for you if you're really looking to set yourself up for success in 2020. So I hope you'll take a look at it. Later this week, I also have, like I said, the reset of my Kanban board. I'm also a little bit late posting the HB Notebook Challenge, so make sure you look out for that later this week. I am going to be giving away this Erin Condren folio that is an exclusive from the seasonal surprise box, so you can't get this anywhere else. So I'm going to be giving this away with some notebooks inside. So be sure that you subscribe and make sure that you have your notifications on so that you don't miss that video. All right, guys, let's get into it. Here's a look at my custom 2020 goals planner. Hey everybody, I'm just going to take a minute to walk you through my custom goals planner for this year. So I've shown you guys the HB90 Quarterly planner, which is basically a goal setting system that has 50 or so pages that are how to set your goals, how to set up your Kanban board, how to break your goals down into projects and tasks. So it's a very specific, powerful goal setting system that I love. I've been using for a couple of years. I developed this kind of over the course of several years to help myself hit my own goals. And now I've been teaching other people how to do it in the HB90 Bootcamp course. But if you are not interested or not ready to jump into the course yet, you could try out this HB90 Quarterly planner. Now the Quarterly planner has all of the goal setting system in the front, and then what it has is basically a weekly system. So I've shown this before, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but so basically the weekly and daily planner part of the HB90 Quarterly planner has an overview for your tasks. So it lists out your 3 goals, and then you can put what tasks you're doing this week. So if your writing was your first goal, then you would put what writing tasks you were doing this week and so on. Then over here, you can put your work in progress. Now, if you're not a writer, I do have a lot of people that use this that aren't writers. You could put something else here instead of work in progress. You could put what your main project is or what your main focus is for the week. Then I changed up the layout some this year to take away the growth tracker and stuff because a lot of people weren't using that. And instead it's just a giant notes section. And all of this is .grid, even though it doesn't show up super well in video. Sorry if you can hear the baby. She's with my husband upstairs and she's just kind of being a little bit loud. So please forgive that. Then you've got a weekly spread. So again, I changed this up a little bit this year. So now I've got a bigger work in progress section, a notes section, and then a habit tracker for 5 habits. And then you just have one long column for each of the 7 days. And these are also have a .grid pattern in them so that you can keep track of basically everything you're doing. And the way that I use this is I write down which tasks I plan to do. Then I schedule out those tasks for this would be ideally how I would get them all done this week. Then it moves on to a daily spread that has 3 lines at the top where you could put your 3 most strongest priorities. Then you've got several empty boxes that you can arrange and use them however you would like. So over here on this side though, you have time from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. that you could write out your schedule. That's one of the things I love about this layout is it's really flexible in terms of you can use it one way or change it. You could put a sticker here, lots of different things you can do. So basically that is the majority of the HB90 Quarterly plan, and it just goes per quarter. So the Q1 only goes from January 1st to March 31st, and it has all of the goal setting pages in the front, and then it has the weekly and daily pages for the rest of all the way through March. There are also monthly reviews. This is something new I added to the quarterly planner. So there's monthly reviews where it's like, what did you accomplish this month? How can you do better next month, and that sort of thing. Then I don't have everything printed because I only keep 1 month printed in my planner at a time, but there's a monthly review for every month. And actually there's also a review page for the end of every week. So you've got weekly, monthly, and you have a quarterly review that's expanded now, that's like a 4-page spread of quarterly review questions that'll help you plan for the next quarter. So that is the Q1 like HB90 planner. I put a new one out every single quarter. There's also an undated one. The advantage of the dated one is that you get different quotes pages. So there's these pretty quote pages throughout the planner. You also get kind of a different little pep talk and walkthrough at the beginning of the goal setting pages. And of course, all the dates are written in for you. In the undated, obviously you'll be printing it with the same quotes pages and you'll be writing in your own dates. But that planner, both of those planners, the undated and the Q1, come in A5 size, which is what I've got in this Carpe Diem planner, and they also come in letter size, which is what I have in this Happy planner. But for this year, for 2020, I actually just released a new planner, which is the Goals Planner. So this planner is basically the goal setting pages that I was talking about that are at the front of that Q1 planner or the quarterly planner. It's the goal setting pages for the entire year, but what it doesn't have is those weekly and daily spreads. So this one is more of just the goal setting workbook in a way, and it's not a daily planner. So you wouldn't be able to like schedule your days and have those like task lists and stuff like that you have in the other planner. But I know many of you were curious about this and whether or not you wanted to get the goals planner. So I'm a little bit late getting this video up, but I did want to walk you through it. Now, what I'm planning to do is I've printed out the entire goals planner. Now this is almost a 300-page planner, so it's quite beefy. So if you send it out to be printed and you get it in color, just go ahead and definitely make sure that you get it double-sided instead of single page, and then go ahead and get a quote, because it could be quite expensive to have it printed elsewhere. Or what you might want to do is just have it printed in black and white instead of with the color, because that'll make it a lot less expensive. Now you can get it printed in letter, which is just a basic letter size, or you can actually, if you send it out to be printed, you can print it in A5 size at a printer and have them cut it, to A5 size for you. When it comes to the A5 for my planner, I cut the page, like I take this same paper and I cut it down to A5 size and then I print on it, but it's going to depend on what kind of printer you have. So you might want to do some Googling about how to print on A5 before you commit to it, but letter size is super easy to print on. So you get both sizes included in the planner. So yay, here comes the goal planner. I worked so hard on this. I hope that you guys love it. Please let me know how it's working for you if you're using it. But this is the 2020 goals planner. And I'm going to quickly just kind of flip through it. So at the front, you have an overview of 2020 with a little bit of notes section. So if you wanted to plan out your release schedule or your work schedule or anything like that on here, then you also have an overview of 2021. This is in the quarterly planner every time as well. Then you have your quarterly sections. So the Q1 section with a quote, and then every single quarter, the quote changes a little bit. Then what you have is basically what is also in the beginning of the Q1 planner. The quote is the same. All of this like verbiage is the same. So this is basically like a little pep talk and a walkthrough of how to use the planner and how to, set up your goals and things like that. So all of this first part of Q1 is the exact same as in the quarterly planner. So you've got your vision statement, which is something that I only include in this goals planner for Q1, because hopefully you're setting up your vision for the entire year or for your life, really. So you've got a few questions to sort of solidify your vision. You've got a section here that says your ideal day. And again, this is all dot grid, even though I know it doesn't show up great in the video. It will show up when you print it. Then you have a 2-page spread where you can do your vision board. Now in my HB90 course, a lot of people will do their vision boards in Canva or on Pinterest and then print them out. I am actually a fan of doing mine on paper because I like to have it somewhere that I can either have it in my planner or up on the wall. So often I'll do them on a big sheet of poster board instead of in the planner, but there is space for you to do it in the planner. Then what you have that's different from the Q1 planner here is you have your Q1 plan checklist. So this doesn't exist in the quarterly plan because you don't have all 4 quarters, but this is just a checklist for all the different pages that you need to fill out in your quarterly planning. So it just has like created my vision board, brainstormed my list, prioritized my list, set up my Kanban board. And then as you complete it, you can checklist it. And then if there's anything else you wanted to add to it, I've left some space here for you to add your own like to-dos to your checklist. Let's have some fun. And now you go into, again, this is in the quarterly planner, but this is the actual goal setting pages. So the first part was like your vision. This is what you need to do to set up your plan. So you've got the same pages, some decluttering lists, which is kind of dumping everything out of your brain. Then a section where it teaches you how to prioritize everything that was on those lists and start to see some examples and things of how to set your goals for the quarter. So then you can see there's quote pages throughout. Then the next thing you do after you've kind of prioritized is you do what I call the time estimator, where you take the 3 months of the first quarter, you block off all the days you're not going to be working and figure out how many days you actually have to work towards your goals for the quarter. Then you've got a place to list your like ongoing habits and routine type tasks or your admin tasks, a place to set up your ideal weekly schedule. Then comes the goal setting pages. So in the beginning, in the Q1 section of the goal planner, there is a walkthrough of how to use all of these pages. So you've got a sheet that says like set your goals and it tells you how to do this. Like I said, this is also in the quarterly planner. Now what will change is in this goal setting planner, as you get into Q2, Q3, Q4, is these explanation sheets aren't there anymore because you don't really need them over and over again. You can always reference this at the beginning. So this kind of explains to you how to set your goals. Then you get a chance to brainstorm what your goals might be. And then finally you set your 3 goals. Now you can have just 1 goal or you can have 2 goals. You can also have maybe 3 work goals and a personal goal, but I prefer to only set a max of 3 goals for your business or for your work. Because anything more than that starts to be too much to really like focus. Then you've got a future projects section here, which my business mentor, Amber McHugh, calls a future idea parking lot or the $1 million parking lot. So this is where you can say, well, I don't have time to do this project in Q1, but I really want to do it in Q2. So I'm going to write it down for the possibility of where I might do it. So you could put, okay, I'm going to write my book in Q1, but I'm actually going to edit it in Q2 and publish it in Q3. So you could put those kind of things. So you kind of have an idea of what you're going to do in the future. Then this explains how to break down your projects and tasks. So you have a place to say like, here was my goal. Here's the projects I think are going to help me get to that goal. And this still is all just brainstorming. And I give you a sheet for each goal and then a bonus sheet in case you had some overflow. Then what you're going to do is actually schedule out your projects. So for example, you might say goal number 1 is to write and publish new books in order to make $10,000 a month. So then you would say project number 1 is to write the rough draft of book 10 in my series. I'm going to start it on this date, end it on this date, and I'm estimating that it's going to take me, 75 days to complete. And you would write out all your projects that go towards helping you achieve that goal. And I have that same spread for goal number 2 and goal number 3. So here's where you're actually deciding exactly which projects and scheduling them out. Then you have a project planner where you say, okay, let's say that first project was to write the rough draft of book 10 in my series. I would again write the start date, the end date, the estimated time. And then once that project was complete, I would write out the actual time it took me to finish it. That way I know later when I go back to estimate how long it would take me to write a rough draft, I have proof here that, okay, I thought it was going to take me 75 days, but it actually took me 105 days. So I know I underestimated or whatever. Then you break that project down into all the tiny little tasks. So you could break it down into like 500 words a piece, or like write act 1, or you need to plot, you need to finish your character sheets, whatever tasks go into finishing that rough draft can get written here. And then you've got a notes section, and then you can write down like what goal that is attached to. Moves me toward my goal to write and publish in order to make $10,000 a month. So you only have 2 project planner sheets per quarter, but since it's a printable, you can print out as many of those as you want, or you can just write them on your notes sections. Then you've got an explanation of how to set up your Kanban board and how to fill out this milestone sheet so that you know which of your projects you plan to have done by January, by the end of February, and then by the end of March. So that sets up your kind of 30, 60, 90-day milestones. Then this explains to you how to use your monthly planner pages. Sorry if you can hear the baby crying in the background. Then you've got the actual part of the planner that's in the goal setting planner. And like I said, you don't have the weekly and daily task pages, but here's what you do have. So you have a monthly overview with a notes page. And in this version of the planner, I actually tell you in the monthly planner what week it is. So this is week 1 of the quarter, week 2, week 3, week 4, and so on. Then after the month, it moves on into the weeks. So week 1, technically December 30th to January 5th. And here, similar to what you had in that weekly spread, this is what I call a weekly checklist. So instead of any type of like actual planner, like weekly spreads, you get this weekly checklist for every week in the year. So you would say this is attached to goal number 1, and the task is that I'm going to plot act 1 of the book. This is attached to goal number 2, and I'm going to set up my newsletter list, you know, whatever it is. So you would write out which goal it is, 1, 2, or 3 over here, the task that you're doing over here, and then once it's completed, you can check it off. So you have one for week 1, week 2 of the quarter, week 3, week 4, week 5, another kind of quote page. Then you've got your end of January review, which is a 2-page spread. Then you have your February monthly calendar, and we're back to the weekly checklist, week 6, 7, 8, and 9 of the quarter. Then you've got your February review. Then you've got your March week, which is the final week in the quarter. So you've got the monthly spread, weeks 10, 11, 12, and 13. At the bottom of week 11, you've got a task already added for you, because I think it's best to go between weeks 11 and 12 to plan out your quarterly review. So I have complete my quarterly review and start planning for next quarter. I like to start doing that when there's still 2 weeks left in the quarter. So then you've got week 11 and 12, and then at the back of that, you have that actual 4-page quarterly review. So hopefully you can see how this is similar to the quarterly, like HB90 Q1 planner. You've got the same reviews, you've got the same monthly spreads, the same goal setting pages, but instead of having those weekly and daily spreads, you just have a weekly checklist. And that's the main difference. And of course, that the quarterly planner is just 1 quarter at a time, just 90 days. And this 2020 goal setting planner has the entire year. So then you've got just a 2-page notes spread if you want to start journaling or making notes about what you're going to do next quarter or how this quarter went. And then boom, now we have Q2 of 2020. So now it will take you through that exact same process for Q2. It still has a quotes page and a little pep talk from me, but instead of having all of those explanations about how to use your vision board, how to prioritize your lists, it is literally just the pages of the workbook, and the explanations are no longer there. So you've got your Q2 plan checklist, and then you've got all the pages you need to make your plan. And if you need to go back to reference those sheets that kind of explain to you how to set your goals or how to brainstorm and that sort of thing, you've got them at the beginning, like the prioritize and all of those other explanations. You've got them at the beginning to reference. So it walks you through setting those goals all over again. You've got your project planners, your milestones, and then you're out to your Q2 monthly spread and your Q2 weekly checklist. So you've basically got that all the way through the entire year. So once you get through the end of June, now you go to your Q3 planner. And then once you get through the end of September, you've got your Q4 planner. So you basically could just print out one quarter at a time and incorporate it into your existing like happy planner or something like that. Like if it comes with the letter and the A5 sizes, but if you wanted to print it and put it into just a regular like classic size happy planner, you would print it at 84% instead of 100%. You would print the letter at 84% and then you'd have to cut the pages down, but you can make it work for a regular happy planner. You could also use a 3-ring binder or anything like that, and I would definitely recommend doing this. If you wanted to put it in a half letter binder, like one of those smaller binders, you would just take the letter and print it at 50% and then cut the pages. Now you could print it at 50% and print 2 pages per page. Just make sure that you do some practicing so that you understand, you know, what you need to have on the front and back if you want to do it double-sided. So basically that is a walkthrough of the goals planner. So hopefully you can see how it's a little bit different. Now at the very end of the goals planner, once you get to the end where you have like week 12 and 13, and then I give you a task list for week 1 of 2021 because there's still a few days of December there. You've got another quotes page. Then you've got a letter from me about how to plan for next year, another notes page, and then you have a 2020 yearly review. So this is really powerful. I did this similar type of review to this with my HB90 alumni, and it was really, really helpful, I think, not only for me, but hopefully really helpful for them. If you were in that group and you enjoyed it, go ahead and comment down below and let us know what you thought of the review. But this is a much longer review where you've got several pages and it goes much deeper into how did the year go, what went right, what went wrong, and how can I improve for next year. So you've got a lot of questions for helping you plan for next year. Then you've got a free write exercise where you can say what really did work, what didn't work, and then finally what's going to work out better for you next year. What do you need to have done by the end of 2021 in order to say that it was a success? And then one of the final pages here is your 2021 wish list, which is a list of the top 10 things you want to get done next year. So this goals planner is really a great way to set yourself up for, you know, really planning your goals on a quarterly system and, you know, having those weekly task lists, having all of those like quarterly, monthly reviews, the yearly review to help you plan and really achieve your goals. And this is a good option for those of you who have kind of been wanting to use the HB90 planner, but don't really need like the daily or weekly pages. This will give you just the goal setting system without the daily and weekly pages. So let's say you're already using like an Erin Condren or a Plum Paper planner or a Panda planner. That's like your normal everyday type planner. This is just a supplement to that. So you might not need what I've got, what I use, which is these like daily pages. You might not need something like that, but you might still want to use the quarterly system. So that would make the goals planner perfect for you. So just in a nutshell, again, to kind of explain it, the HB90 Quarterly planner, so like the Q1 2020 planner, is just for 90 days. It has the goal setting pages, and then it has weekly and daily spreads. So it works as like your actual daily, weekly planner. Then the goal setting planner has those same reviews and quarterly goal setting pages, but instead of only carrying you through a quarter at a time, it carries you through the entire year of 2020, but it doesn't have the weekly and daily spreads. If you have any questions about how to use it or what would be the right one for you, please let me know. Go ahead and comment down below. So these planners are all available on Etsy. You've got the Q1 dated planner for 2020 that carries you through the end of March. You have the undated quarterly planner, which has the weekly and daily pages that carries you through an entire quarter, and you can just reprint that over and over again for every quarter. Or you've got the 2020 goals planner, which carries you through the whole year with just the goal setting pages. So hopefully that explains it. I know many of you are also waiting on my social media planner, which I have actually been working on a little bit since the Christmas holidays, but I tried to explain in one of my previous videos that it's just one of those things that didn't get done. I got a little bit sick towards the end of my quarter and just didn't have time or energy to finish the social media planner. So a little bit delayed, not ideal, but sometimes we just can't meet every single goal that we have for the quarter. So please be patient. I am working on it and hope to have it up in the next week or two. I will do another walkthrough at that point for the social media planner. To give you a little bit of a sneak peek of it though, if you're interested, I do have some of the pages already printed out in my planner because I plan to use them as sort of a test. So you've got a social media overview where you can track your followers on 5 different platforms. So you would mark at the beginning of January how many followers you have and then how many followers you added or the growth throughout that month. Then you can see, this is why I'm testing it. There's like something overlapped and it didn't print a line. So you've got a questionnaire about your social media strategy, blog post planner, and a blog post topics list. There's also a video topics list if you're on YouTube, hashtag tracker. Then I've got like a monthly social media overview where you can also do like an editorial calendar. And this is where I now have my growth tracker. So you could say like the Facebook page, how many followers I had at the beginning, how many I had at the end, and how many I was hoping to add versus how many I actually added. So that's really cool. You can also mark any like events or promos that you have going on for the month and when they're happening. And then any other hashtags or notes that you're using throughout the month. So like if you were doing, you know, like a hashtag indie book reads challenge on Instagram, you could mark that down here. Then this is the weekly spread for the social media calendar. And right now I'm doing it as an undated planner. I don't know if I'm going to leave it like that or not, because the problem with doing it undated in this way is that it can be a little bit trickier for people to print out the way that I have it now. So some decisions still to be made, but basically you would say here, like, what's the platform? So this would be your Facebook page or your Instagram. You would mark how many followers you had at the beginning of the week. And then every day you would say what you're planning to post. So you could have like a list of the type of images or the type of topic that you want. Or let's say you were doing a hashtag challenge, you could write like what today you're supposed to talk about your work in progress or your character or the favorite book you read when you were little. So you could mark all of those prompts here. And then at the end of the week, you have a place to mark your weekly growth where you could say like plus 130 new followers. Then you've got notes down at the bottom for any promotions or events that are going on this week. And I've got that printed out for every day. And then again, you've got another social media overview. There are other pages that I'm adding to this that I just didn't print out, that will be like an interaction. Like you can see how many likes or comments, you can track how many likes or comments you got on each post and that sort of thing. So there's going to be a lot more to the social media overview or the social media planner. There's also going to be an explanation of what content buckets are, as well as some ideas for what to post on social media if you're an author. And then what I'm hoping to have before the end of this quarter is a sort of like a miniature course. It won't be a long course and it won't be an expensive course. It'll just be kind of a short course to explain sort of how to use the planner and how to plan your social media if you're an author or an entrepreneur. And so it will have a lot of good information on how to decide what to post and how to use this planner, why you want to track these things and stuff like that. So hopefully that course will go up before the end of this quarter, but we'll see if I end up having time for it. So that is just a quick overview of the social media planner, but I will do a full walkthrough of it when we get a little bit closer to it finally being done, which hopefully won't be long. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. You can grab all of these planners over on my Etsy shop. They are all right now printable planners, even though it is hopefully on my dream list for this year to have an actual printed version of these planners for 2021. So fingers crossed on that. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you decide to use it, please let me know how it's going. That's it for now, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you had an awesome Christmas break, an awesome holiday season, whatever you were celebrating, and a wonderful new year. I'm excited for all the new content coming up. We've got a notebook challenge coming up soon, and I'm also going to be doing a reset of my own Kanban board and talking about my goals, not only for this quarter, but for the year. So hopefully you will subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when new stuff goes up from me. All right, guys, love you, and we'll talk soon. Bye.